I live and work in the city of Chicago. I have a daughter whose name is Cecilia, and a lot of our experiences together, well, are just experiencing things, you know, nature, experiencing works of art, you know, the experience of just doing things together and so sharing one another's reactions. I mean, that's, I think, an important kind of parent-child relationship. I like to visit, you know, especially here, you know, where you can see kind of exotic varieties of plants, cacti, and see sort of, you know, how they grow, the way the forms sort of develop out of one another, the way they grow toward the light and counteract gravity. You know, some of the forms relate rather directly to some sculptures that I do. See that cactus over there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know, that kind of... You know, that kind of form is something, you know, I'm really interested in terms of my sculpture. You know, a lot of the forms are like maybe either wing forms or leaf forms, or, you know, you can kind of look into them and see a lot of different things. Sometimes they're kind of like animal forms as well as sort of vegetable or plant forms. Look at the way they come out of one another in all different angles. I really find it interesting, you know, working with modeling and contrast, you know, to working with the welded stuff. You know, because, you know, the idea of being able to... I worked on this piece for a period of about 3 or 4 weeks, really. I made like a small kind of model for it at one point. Then later went on to make an armature that I would model the clay over. You know, another thing is this a little bit more predictable, you know, like, you know, you get the armature built, you put the clay on, you know, you can build it up, you know, in a shorter space of time. I was wondering, how long do you think it'll take to get this cast? Like, if I can get it finished in the next day or so?
I would guess that it'll take us something like 3 days molding from pulling the molds to the core. I think if you could come over possibly on, you know, like 4 days from now and kind of look over the thing and see for sure everything suits you, and then maybe you could help us take it up the hoist and be here when we cast it.
Foundry work involves, you know, really 2 artists. John, aside from his work as a sculptor, who happens to be a caster, and myself, developed working in a way that has been very good, because I can discuss both the casting process and how it relates to what I'm doing, as well as develop variations on that piece for subsequent casts.
Okay, it looks good here.
Yeah.
Now let's bring this one up, Al. Hand it across to Richard, right in place. Watch it. Down a little, Al.
You know, in putting the molds together, it's like very important that everything gets aligned just right. I mean, you could end up having, you know, an incomplete cast. I mean, you know, the metal wouldn't flow all the way through.
We gotta watch this appendage right down here. That's the only one that's critical.
Good.
Sorry. Looking good. Come on, baby. Come on.
It's taking a while. There you go. In the pouring operation, you know, it's very important just getting the metal at the right temperature, pouring it, you know, at the right time. You know, that determines a lot about what the piece is going to look like.
Now, take me a trough out. How many of you can see? Yeah, I'll get more metal. Yeah.
Good to the last drop. So to run it all around there, huh?
Yeah, we'll go that one first.
We have to start breaking out the piece as soon as is practicable so that, you know, the mold itself is in its most pliable state. But you don't know that it's really worked out until you break the mold off and see that the piece has actually been cast, you know, that the metal has gone where it's supposed to go, and you've got the thing complete.
There you go.
I'm glad it came out right, you know. But really, doing that piece and finishing it is important. But, you know, this is a kind of ongoing process. And, like, it had already led to the next thing in terms of my thinking.
Now, Al, let's put one, you know, like so. You gotta hurry. All right, Al, let's go with it.
Hold it, hold it, hold it. I'm going to have to swing it around.
Is that all right? Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Got business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got some all the way around.